What's going on, everyone? It is the Mac and Murray College Football Show, and we have one of the most entertaining weekend recaps that we've done all year. To just everything from rivalry weekend to coaches on the move to the playoff picture, what that's going to look like in a couple of days because of some of these coaching moves. It is a ton of stuff. So we appreciate you joining us wherever you're consuming, whether it's on podcast or on YouTube. Like, subscribe, leave a comment as well. We're going to be diving into all the biggest topics around college football after the regular season's done. It's crazy to think about, EMAC. This was like as wild of an ending of a season, regular season, as we could ask for. And now we're just getting into the
Right.
postseason, conference championship weekend, and then obviously the playoffs, bowl games, all that. So there's just so much more that we have left.
Yeah.
But this was, like I said, as wild of an ending to the regular season as I can remember.
It's crazy. I mean, it's been the craziest season I can remember, and
Yeah.
I think that's part of why this thing just flew by. I mean, literally coaches getting fired after 3 games, a bunch of coaches getting fired, Lane rumors for as long as I can remember. That finally happened. And with all the chaos, this thought literally just came to me as you were saying it. All the chaos is happening everywhere. Texas A&M has the best, record they've ever had. Ole Miss has the best season they've ever had, and somehow, some way, them dogs and Roll Tide are in the championship, and it just feels like all the chaos is inevitable that those two meet there, and then one of them's probably going to win the Natty too. Who knows? It's
Oh.
just all this crazy stuff happens, and it's just like, oh well, same old stuff. Who
I know.
knows?
Of all the problems that
Yeah,
that Georgia and Alabama had this year, they still find a way to match up
so
in the
dumb.
SEC championship game for the billionth time in the past decade. It seems
Yeah,
like it's just crazy, crazy. So we'll obviously get into that, and I'm sure Ohio State has something to say after their impressive win
they look good.
versus Michigan this past weekend. We got to talk a lot about the ACC too. I was on one of the craziest games of the weekend. Cal shocks the nation. That quarterback is so much fun.
He's good.
Oh my God,
He's
he's
good.
so good. So good. So humble too. So humble.
Yeah.
Cal takes on SMU, and now EMAC is not gonna be able to sleep for the next week because of the fears of the ACC possibly missing out because the Duke Blue Devils are now in the ACC championship game. Um, we thought that was over with. That is back. So we'll talk about that and that game a little bit later. But we have to start with the biggest news and maybe all of sports right now, and that is Lane Kiffin leaving Oxford, Mississippi, getting the middle finger from a bunch of frat boys, clothes on the street, jump in the plane, go in the Baton Rouge. After all the talk for the past 2 months, is it going to be Florida when the Florida job open? LSU's now in the mix. Is he just going to stay at Ole Miss when it's all said and done? Because guess what? He's having success at Ole Miss. Multiple double-digit win seasons. They're a playoff team. They're kicking butt right now. They're going to be, like I said, have an opportunity to win a national championship. And he finally made the decision. He is moving on, going to Baton Rouge, going to LSU. And I'll throw it to you first. Like, what's your reaction? The entire thing, from the timing
Yeah.
to the calendar to his decision to leave to go be the next head coach for LSU.
Yeah, I think it's super unfortunate timing. And I don't think that that's his fault. Now
Yeah.
it's weird because of how it was strung out and I would think a vast majority of people thought he was going to stay. Like all the weird comments and things that he's posting and just the toying with emotions is super weird, man. Just super awkward and strange. And then his kids like wearing LSU headphones, and it was just a strange thing to involve so many different pieces of this as they did. Like the family pictures, it was just weird. And I don't
Mhm.
understand why you dig yourself that hole, why you put yourself in that situation. I guess it's just who he is. I don't know him. Obviously, I met him way back when I was being recruited, but I don't know. Just a super weird vibe. So he did create this himself, but the calendar in its own right is a big, part of why he has to do it now or feels he has to do it now, and why, quite frankly, Ole Miss doesn't want him to stay. Like there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of them I think are valid. Now, I do think it's unfortunate because this is going to be fascinating. This is another topic down the road here in a couple minutes. How is Ole Miss affected by this with these college football rankings? I mean, he
Yeah.
is the brain trust, and Weiss is the brain trust of this offense, which is clear and day the strongest, best part of their team. That's almost more important than a quarterback. Like that's gone. and that's moved on. And so if they were this big, vaunted, nasty defense, like maybe they were a couple of years ago, you'd sit here and say, "Oh, it's all good. They're fine." They're not that. And
Mhm.
so I've got some real concerns with that. But overall, just kind of pulling way back from any of the emotion and the weirdness of the situation, I think it's a grand slam hire for LSU. Like it's going to be great for them. And
Yeah.
this guy obviously is the best of the best with offenses and the way that he can get, most out of his players there. I can't wait to see what it looks like. I mean,
Right.
is this a new era of college football with him being there at a place that'll write a blank check, whatever you need, let's get it done. For facilities, for staffing, and they already have, all those different things. But NIL, I can't wait to see what
Mhm.
happens. And here's the deal. My Clemson Tigers get the first crack at it, first game of the year next season. It's gonna be fascinating to see.
No, I think it's the right move, at the end of the day. Like, I think there is in my mind, and I get it, like, Indiana is undefeated for goodness sake, because Indiana went from a losing football team to obviously Kurt Cignetti's turned them to back-to-back, double-digit win teams, to back-to-back seasons of making to the playoffs. They have an opportunity to go to, face to face with Ole Miss, or excuse me, with Ohio State this upcoming weekend. So, like, this is a different era of football where the Blue Buds aren't always necessarily going to be the ones
Mhm.
to win the championship every single year. But that doesn't mean as a coach, you don't want to still give yourself every advantage.
Right.
To your point, there are still more advantages at an LSU, at a Clemson, at a Georgia, at an Alabama, at a Texas, at an Ohio State, at a Michigan than there are at an Ole Miss,
Yeah.
than there are at an Indiana. So I'm not saying you can't win championships at those spots. It just is going to be more difficult. Him at LSU, and, you know how I feel about Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin is one of the best coaches in college football. I think he's, it's always been kind of him and Sarkisian to me as the two best offensive minds in college football.
Mhm.
I think he separated himself a little bit this year of what he's been able to do with a guy that was playing what, like, D2 quarterback a year ago, and Trinidad Chambliss has now turned into, a guy that if he played the entire season may have been in New York when it comes to the Heisman. Like,
Right.
what he's done rebuilding that roster from they were a year ago through the portal and whatnot has just been absolutely terrific. So, we've said it before, Lane is so in tune with today's game. Portal, NIL, elite offense, the things that people want, the things that fans want, the things that players want. You now put him in a situation in Baton Rouge, where he's going to own the state of Louisiana, where all those athletes from one side of the state to the other are going to want to go to LSU, and he's not going to have to go through the portal. He's not going to have to remake his football team as drastically as he's had to do at Ole Miss for the past few years. It's going to be a more traditional way, and I think that I still believe you, Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I still think at the end of the day, more coaches want to and believe it is more sustainable to still build your roster through recruiting and then fill in the pieces in the transfer portal. He's done a great job of filling in all the pieces, it seems like, the transfer
Mhm.
portal,
Mhm.
and then, having the recruiting on the side of it. Now he gets to do it the more sustainable way, and I think to him, and to all coaches, that's a lot easier task.
Right. No, it certainly is. And for all those reasons you just spelled out, I mean, the upside is going to be really, really just fascinating to watch and interesting to see how quick, does it happen? I mean, is it early as next year because of the portal and the things that you're able to bring? And listen, that's a talented team. I fully expect him to keep Baker on staff to be that defensive, coordinator. And now you're adding elite firepower offense that has a proven track record over decades of development, and now a defense that we were jacked up about for
Mhm.
most of the season, for at least half of the season, that injuries and a poor offense didn't really help out there. Now that's coming together, and
Yep.
what can that look like? And can that be an LSU team that we expected after week one for a full season here? So I can't wait. I can't wait to see what it is. Now, an interesting perspective that I kind of want to turn here before we get to maybe some playoff talk and then go to other coaches is the players at Ole Miss. Like,
Yeah.
this sucks. This is the
Do
worst
you agree with the decision to not let him coach? Because I'm torn on this. Like, I get
from
it.
a player's perspective. No, from a Am I
administration.
thinking he's already done some snaky stuff, he's just gonna be recruiting our entire team to take them, get him out? Like, that's
Yeah, but he
because
can
of
do
how
that
he's handled it,
regardless.
I
He
think
can
he
do
put
that
himself
regardless.
in that hole. I think he by all the antics, all the silliness, he created that to where they're like, "Please leave. Like, go. Go."
At the end of the day, um, Keith Carter, the athletic director for Ole Miss, if you're looking at this roster right now and you know how good Lane Kiffin is as a head coach because you're ready to write essentially a blank check yourself, and you think this is your best opportunity to maybe win a national championship,
Yeah.
why would you not give it a go? Because I think we can all agree that
Yeah.
going forward, Ole Miss is going to take a step back.
Mhm.
This has
Sure.
been a roster
Yeah.
that is built because of Lane Kiffin. This is a team that has had success, mostly 90% due because of the offense and the firepower on that side of the football and the creativity of Lane Kiffin. And now you're taking that away. Do you think it's gonna get better?
Mhm.
Like,
No.
I
No.
listen, I like Pete Golding. I think he's a great human being.
Sure.
I think he's a really good coach. Obviously, he comes from a tree of the Sabins and the Kirbys and all that. So, like, he's got that in him. He understands what it means to coach at a high level. But it's not like this defense has been nails for years. It
Mhm.
still has been the Achilles heels of why this team has not, didn't even beat Georgia early
Right.
in the season, why they're not undefeated, was because of the defense. So,
Yeah.
if I'm Keith Carter and I say, "Hey, I wanna win a national championship," I'm pissed as hell Lane's leaving, but the players want him to stay, and
Allegedly.
this gives us that best opportunity.
Yeah.
I would let it ride, man,
Yeah. I
right?
just think the
I get it's
principle.
awkward, but
Yeah, yeah. Principle, pride, again, how Lane handled it, I'm sure it was even worse behind the scenes, and he probably was just fed up. He probably literally just said, "Get out," "We don't want you." Now I don't think that's right, I think it sucks. I think the timing of it's horrific, and again, for these players is brutal. I mean, you're having your best season in the history of the school,
yeah.
and you don't get to finish the deal. You don't get to finish the race, and now the question is, how are they affected by that? How is Ole Miss viewed now? Because the offensive brain trust is gone and it's moved on. And the guy that dials it up and the guy that calls it and the guy that puts it together is in Baton Rouge. How will they be judged by this committee? Now, there's a poll coming out here in a day that if they even move a little bit, how much more will we continue to see that?
Mhm.
And does putting a Miami and Alabama in push them out? Does putting another team, a Texas, do you, who honestly, who
Well,
would
I
you
mean,
rather
we
have?
saw Florida State be held out because their quarterback, I think
Yeah,
Lane
and that
is
was
just
four
as important.
teams, and I get that. Like
Yeah,
they obviously would have been in if it was 12 teams. It is different, but the same because there is precedent. But like honestly, right now, who would you rather see? A Sark-led Texas with Arch Manning playing very well, or a Lane Kiffin-less Ole Miss?
ugh, ooh, it's this is gonna
Brutal.
be
But let's
I mean,
be
this
real. They wanted to have all those real and hard conversations
yeah,
about Florida State without Jordan Travis. Let's talk about this.
I
It's
agree.
crazy. And I mean,
I don't
and
I mean, obviously, at the
crazy.
end of the day, we're not gonna view all 12 teams as true contenders, like, let's be honest, like,
Sure.
it's been a really good year, there's a lot more teams that have a chance to win a national championship
Yeah.
than in years past, but there's still and you never know, you gotta go out there and play the game, you gotta roll the ball out there and see what happens,
Mhm.
but it still feels like there's probably, even this year with how good it's been, 6 teams maybe that can win a national championship,
Maybe.
so
Yeah.
I don't even know if I would even think that even with Lane, that they realistically would win a national championship because of what that defense has been like this
Mhm.
year. But could they win 1 or 2 playoff games? Could they end up being in the top 4? Yeah, they could with Lane Kiffin. Without Lane, do I think they can win a playoff game? No. Let's be honest, like, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't think they could.
Which again sucks. I hate that we're in this position. I do not like it. I think it's horrific for those players, but it
Hopefully,
is
this
what
is
it
just a
is.
final push to just get so much about our game, because I think you and I, we talked about at the beginning of the show, we've talked about all year, college football is in such a good place.
Mhm.
It's more competitive, there's more opportunity, it's more entertaining from a fan analyst perspective week in and week out.
Right.
There's great storylines. Um, then there's more teams obviously that have a chance. I think that's the most important thing when it's all said and done. But there's still so many things that gotta get cleaned up.
Yeah.
The calendar, the transfer portal, how NIL is gonna look going forward, all that needs to be figured out, which comes to the bigger question of when are we going to get to the point where we have a governing body that focuses solely on figuring out these issues?
Right.
And until we do, the can is going to continue to get kicked down the road. and
Mhm.
it's unfair to players like Ole Miss. It's unfair to them that they've worked their tails off all season, and it's unfair to and honestly, like, listen, I think it's unfair to Lane Kiffin too, that he's worked his tail off all season to put this roster together, to put him in a position to win, and he has to make this decision now because it's kind of make the decision now or don't get the job.
Yeah.
So, it
Brutal.
sucks, man. It
Brutal.
sucks. Sucks for
I
everyone. Needs
feel
to get
bad
figured
for him.
out.
I really do, because I mean, I could not imagine being in that position,
No.
and because listen, I was able to go to the college football playoff, and I couldn't imagine after, we play in an ACC championship or don't play, and then all of a sudden Dabo Swinney's like, "I'm out, boys. Have fun. See you later." And now circumstantial is very different, but I couldn't imagine that. I
Yep.
couldn't imagine that. It's a brutal situation. I think it goes back to show how lucky we were to have the men that we did as head
Yeah.
coaches. And
Yep.
not that we ever took it for granted, but it further puts it into perspective, I think, for sure, for us specifically.
Alright, well, let's hit on some other coaches making moves because it was a wild day of just notification after notification after notification.
It's like every 10 seconds you're looking
Yeah,
at your
every
phone,
10
it's a
seconds,
new
there's,
name.
all these job vacancies are being filled. Let's go to the Plains. Auburn hires South Florida's Alex Golish as their next
Were you
head
shocked?
coach.
Were you shocked by
I'm
this?
I'll be honest, like, who th before we get into was this a good hire or not, the
I don't
pool
know.
of coaches, there wasn't a big pool. I
Right.
mean, they we all these teams are firing their coach, especially now this late in the game. Like, why would you just not wait a year? There are
Mhm.
too many teams and not enough coaches with maybe power for, I feel really, really good about this guy, experience.
Right.
And now Auburn, Florida, Arkansas,
It's the American. The
are
American's
having to
bumping
get a
up.
group of, and once again, like, not saying these guys aren't qualified,
Yeah.
but just saying it's a little bit more of a risk.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is.
It for sure
Um,
is. I think there's a track record, and obviously you see, what he's done at USF and how fun that was beating Florida. It's kind of fascinating. It would have been funny if he would have went to Florida. It's like beat you and then take your job type of thing there. But I think, clearly a good offensive mind has a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL right now that, people get excited about that. And, clearly that was a big point of emphasis for Auburn this year, or lack thereof, at the quarterback position. And, can he come and bring that in and retain some of that roster? I mean, I hope he's spoken to Cam Coleman now, like,
yeah.
hired, sign the contract, call Cam. That would be kind of my order of importance there, and just try to keep these guys together. So I like the offense. Cole Kublik was jacked up about it and feels good. Why wouldn't he? I guess. So we'll see.
My
We'll
only
see. I just thought
hesitation.
Summerall was going there. I thought Summerall to Auburn was done,
Oh, I
and
thought so
obviously it
too.
wasn't.
But I think we both agree Florida's a better job than Auburn. So Summerall was gonna get the first pick of the 2, so
Yeah.
Florida was gonna be it. My only hesitation is I think Alex Golesh is a perfect personality, no BS, come in there, he's gonna get it going the right direction. Obviously, what he's done at USF is tremendous. I mean, a team that was 111, and it was the belle of the ball for the majority of the season of being that group of 5 team,
Mhm.
one of the best offenses in the country, 9-3 record. I mean, we can go through all the stats. He's done a hell of a job turning that program around. But as we know, at a place like Auburn, expectations are national championships,
Right.
which is at times feels very unrealistic when you look at the history of Auburn football,
You
but
just got to
that's the
claim them.
expectations.
Just
And like,
claim them.
and I'm
If you
not
don't
gonna get
win
mad
them,
at,
claim them.
yeah, exactly. Just come, but I'm not even gonna get mad at fans for having that expectation. Like, why not? Like, if we have and we believe we have everything that you need to be successful, win a championship, why shouldn't we expect
Mhm.
to be in contention in the SEC and in the national picture? My question is, do we believe this offense can win a championship?
Right.
Because we've seen Tennessee have success. We've seen Tennessee put together great offenses, but we've yet to see Tennessee, who Golsh was there, put together a truly national championship team.
Mhm.
And that is the expectation. Do you believe that this offense could produce a championship team or just a football team that puts up nice stats?
Yeah, I think it's, again, it goes back to the just the question that there's only, 3 active dudes that have a natty right now.
True.
Like, it's hard. It's
I
really
know.
hard to win a national championship. So, I mean, if he puts together an elite defense with it, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I do think it's I don't like using gimmicky because there's such a negative connotation, but there is a little bit of that. And I'm interested to see how easy is this transition from, where he was and how he had to recruit and literally probably the portal for 90% of his roster to, is he going to carry that into Auburn? Like what we just said is that probably isn't sustainable. And the misses are more apparent. When you miss
Mhm.
in the SEC, you're going to know. When you miss in the Big Ten or you miss in the ACC, like there's drastic decline. We just saw Florida State have the worst year of their history a year ago because they had so many portal misses. Like you can't just live in that thing. So
Yeah.
something he's probably had to do throughout being a head coach there. How easy do you transition back out of that? I don't know. And honestly, for
Well,
Auburn,
I
do you
would think
have
for
to
all
do that
these
anyway?
guys, even like Lane, you at least use your first year to try and build a roster, and then from there you start leaning more into recruiting, right?
Supplement.
Like,
I would hope
yeah,
so,
yeah.
because this just, might not be a long tenure if not.
So I like the hire. To all that to be said, like I like the hire. I like Alex Golish. I do think the offense is fun. I don't like if I was going to be an offensive coordinator or recruit. I don't think it would excite me to go to play in that offense because I do think there are some limitations when it comes to maybe playing at the next level. But then you can't deny the fact that it does put up some pretty crazy stats.
Right.
Is it complementary football, and do you need that to win a championship? It seems like that based on the teams that we've seen win championships for the past. Even we talked about it with Oklahoma. These teams that have won national championships for the past 5, 6, 7 years. They've all had great defenses, but they've also had really good offenses. Even
Right.
LSU had a great offense when they won with Joe Burrow,
Oh,
but
sure.
the
The
defense
best.
wasn't horrendous. It was like in the late 20 or like bottom end, the 20s, 30s for when it comes to defense. It wasn't, Oklahoma's offense, which was like 70th in the country in certain
Mhm.
categories. So, like, you still have to be able to play complementary football. I don't know if this style of offense allows you year in and year out to play a complementary style of team football that's going to win a championship.
Right.
So, but good luck to him. I think it's a good hire. I think with the limited pool out there, I think Summerall was if I had to pick one of the 2 I would want, I would still lean Summerall 1,
Mhm.
and Golish 2 of the 2. So let's move over to that one. Florida hires Summerall, and I think this was interesting because, the talk was Florida's not going to go group of 5 after Billy Napier
Hey, and
failure,
that's so
and
funny
they
when,
go
like,
right back to the state of Louisiana and
when
get a
people
group of
say
5
that.
coach.
It's so funny to me when they say that, like, the AD or the search committee, and then they totally miss and do it. Like, they just
It's
get
nothing
that
missed,
same
there's just
guy.
no one out there.
Right,
There's no
well,
one
you're right,
left.
not miss because I think he's a great coach, and I'm
Yeah,
super excited for him. But they do it. Like, why
yeah.
put yourself in a box and why say
Oh,
anything like that? But I'm excited for him. I mean, you talk about winner, like, that dude just is casually, been in the conference championship I think the last 4 years everywhere he's been, 2 at Troy and 2, here in the American with, the green wave there, so he knows what it looks like, and he knows
yeah,
what it's supposed to look like, and, like the staff that he has compiled and interested to see who does he add, who does he change, kinda with that. Does anyone stay back and get that head job or another, G5 head job? But he's a bulldog now. He's a different kind of
oh, yeah,
mindset, the way he talks, the way he thinks. Billy Napier kind of calm, cool, collected. This dude's a fireball, and it's
yeah.
going to be probably a difference that or a change that Florida fans really like. Um, but I like Coach Summerall a ton. I think this is a
I
grand slam.
love him. Love him. I had them versus, Tulane versus Duke, and when I
Duke,
sat down with him for the
yeah,
first time, and I was like, "Dude, this guy." We all knew he was gonna get an opportunity somewhere. We kind of were leaning obviously towards Auburn with some of those ties, but, and obviously because of the fact that Florida just swung and whiffed with Billy Boy there, but I think this is a we think, and let's just preface this as we look at all these coaches, we don't know.
right,
We have no idea. This is a crazy time in college football when we have teams like Indiana as one of the best teams in college football all of a sudden. Like, you just don't know how the fit is going to work, how the rosters are going to be built. And he said like the one thing that he has to get done is he needs to build a sexy offense.
right,
Whenever I think of Florida and I think of the Florida years of great success, they've always had really good offenses. And they have a pretty good offense this year. Tulane, little limited. Love their quarterback. Don't have a lot of great skill guys around them. They found ways to win playing complementary football on both sides. Um, but they gotta build an offense right away, and he knows that. So it's gonna be fascinating to watch all these coaches kinda put together, their OCs, their DCs, their position coaches, to get things ready to go. Alright, the last
Let me
coach
ask
that
you
we
this
wanna
real
talk.
quick before we move
Okay,
on. Do you think that Kentucky ever had the thought of moving on from Stoops and hiring that guy? Summerall,
probably.
because he played there. He played at
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah, but I think and I know that was a big thing, like, he would go to Kentucky if that opened.
Mhm.
I don't I just being around him for that game, I think he wants to win a championship.
Oh, so he wouldn't go. Oh,
I don't know if he would go.
brutal. That's brutal. Okay, good. Good to know. Good to
I
know.
think this was a better move for him.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yes.
Kentucky's a hard spot. I'm interested to see what they do too, because I've
Yep.
seen some rumblings late afternoon about what might happen there. There's a lot of money owed there, and it's like the next day. I think that's
You
the
gotta
rumblings are
wait a
going around.
year now. You have to,
Might as
right?
well wait. Might as well wait.
Yeah, I just there's no one left, honestly, right now. All right, last one real quick. Arkansas hires Memphis's coach, Ryan Silverfield. Um, Memphis, just like USF, was kind of in somewhat in the driver's seat for a little bit when it came to being that group of 5 team to go to the playoffs kind of a little late, fall this season, but I to me, it's less about him and it's all about Arkansas because I believe there will be buy-in at Auburn. There will be buy-in at Florida.
Mm,
I don't know if there's enough buy-in in Arkansas to I don't care what coach you have, that there's going to be much success.
yeah.
Am I wrong to think that? Like, I think
No,
at
I
the end of the
think
day, like,
yeah.
you need now more than ever, really a true financial backing to be able to bring in top talent,
Right.
and obviously have the facilities you need to win at a high level. I just think Arkansas has not made that commitment, and maybe they will. Maybe he'll convince them to, but if they don't, like I said, I don't care who the head coach is, it's not gonna be successful.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's difficult because 'cause they're good at other things, right? Like, they like other things. They like basketball and the investment that they've made there, obviously. Baseball, very good team.
Yep.
That it
Track and
takes
field,
money
good.
to be
Yep.
good there too, right? Like, it's not, cheap. It's not easy, to do, and when you don't just specialize in one sport, like football or overemphasize, I know it's probably still the most important, but do your financials show that? Does your commitment show that? I don't know if the answer is yes to that. It probably isn't actually. And when you see where they are, I mean, listen, it's like it's super fun, right? To take an SEC job and it's sexy and it's cool and you got that on the resume, but you're also the worst team in the ACC or the SEC starting next season. Like you're coming off this,
Yep.
kind of record where they are, and you're building from a basement in a very tall, big house. Like it's
Yep.
going to be difficult to do there, and just the talent that you may or may not be able, to bring in is going to be interesting. Now, have people obviously won there before? Sure, and will his style of offense, I think, really work? Yes, but it. Can you get the guys? Can you bring them in? And again, you're playing a very difficult opponent each and every week.
So, I think he's a good coach, but I don't know. Just don't know. Don't know. It's more of a university problem
I
than a coach
agree.
problem. I don't care if you put Nick Saban could take the job at Arkansas. If you
And
ain't gonna give him the
here's the
resources, it ain't
interesting
gonna
thing
matter.
too. You talk about like opportunity and maybe not quite natties, but getting in a playoff, you probably had an easier trek at Memphis,
Yeah,
right? Like than
yeah.
being a SEC bottom feeder. I don't know. It's some
I
of these
agree with that one.
decisions are so dramatic. Like I think back to um, Freeze at Auburn. Like that article came out where he said the first day of spring, he was like, I should have stayed at Liberty.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's real.
He
That's a
should
real
have.
thing. It's a real
He
thing.
should have. He should
Brutal.
have. All right, let's get to some games, and then we'll hit on playoff talk at the end of the show. So let's just run through all the biggest games of the weekend, starting with Friday, and then working our way to Saturday. Georgia Tech. Um, not the
Tell the people
prettiest of
about,
games.
Roddy's text 1 minute into the game.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, the freaking kickoff return, the guy like muffs it a little bit, and they Georgia Tech gets the ball on the 4-yard line. I'm like, ooh, this is not the start that you needed. Um, Neither offense had success. Obviously, more surprised Georgia's lack of success on offense
Yeah.
than Georgia Tech, especially the way Georgia Tech has played defensively this year. But we also said it last week, EMAC, like this was Georgia Tech. Now the fact they weren't going to be in the playoffs or the
Mhm.
ACC championship game, like this was their final hurrah. Like this was their rivalry game. We have confidence because we had success against Georgia a year ago and felt like we should have beat them. We're not scared of the G, and this is our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they played like that on
Mhm.
defense. So we can say all we want that like Georgia did not play well offensively. I just think Georgia or Georgia Tech played a heck of a game and deserves some credit as well for the way they came out there and battled for 4 quarters and made it a contest. I never felt like Georgia was going to lose the game.
Mm.
Georgia just couldn't separate.
Right.
And I think that's a little bit to do with or I would say more to do with Georgia Tech playing really well and a little bit less to do with Georgia just having a bad day on offense.
Yeah, I think it is interesting just because of how bad Georgia Tech was going into this game defensively and how good, quite frankly, Georgia had been, leading it. I mean, we felt like it was two teams going like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Georgia was ascending, playing like one of the best teams in the country. Georgia Tech just fading, unfortunately, and that's part of football. It's hard. It's a hard game, and for this defensive effort to come out of basically nowhere, to have one of their best, if not best, defensive performance against Georgia, the top 4 team in the country, your heated rival. It's great to see that, and that's why rivalry weekend is the best. And you
Yeah.
never have any clue. What is truly going to happen there, like we saw later in the evening, Texas and Texas A&M. So, I think for 2 guys that were I won't say a lock, but maybe close to a lock to get to New York. There was a lot of expectation and a lot of excitement and thinking it's going to be fireworks. And Georgia's defense isn't world beaters, and so I thought both these teams were going to score at will. Both defenses played really well, and Gunner to be 70 yards passing, that's brutal, and Haynes to not be super effective with his legs. It was just a weird, ugly game, from
Yeah.
a guy that loves to see a lot of offense. So, Georgia Tech, like you said, great effort. We're right there, literally to the last play. I mean, had a chance
Yeah.
to tie it up there with a bomb and the execution. I mean, that throw to Isaiah Canyon on the sideline and
I
him to
know.
have the
Freaking
awareness
speed.
to get his feet down and then jump out of bounds. I mean, that was sick. It was really, really fun. And then of course, Georgia just did the brilliant thing that you do to end the game and just knock that dang ball down and don't give them a chance there. So great effort by Georgia Tech, just come up a little bit short and
Yeah.
still a great season. I'm sure we'll talk about this kind of big perspective from some of these teams. It doesn't feel like it now because of the skid you're on, losing a couple in a row, but really, really impressive run, from Georgia
Oh my
Tech and
god,
how
from
they're
last year
building.
to this year,
Yeah,
Georgia
it's
Tech,
crazy. They're
they're
building.
you said that, trending down compared to Georgia trending up right now this season, but I would say as a program though overall,
Oh, no, yeah, yeah.
Georgia Tech is trending in the right
Yes,
direction.
yes.
Haynes King is gone, so obviously you have to rebrand your identity a little bit,
I think they
as a
will
football
too.
team, not
We're
just on
gonna throw
offense,
that
but obviously
thing.
Aaron
Yeah,
Philo is damn good.
he's good. Yeah.
But, like, Haynes King just, like,
You're
what he
right.
meant to that team. He's
He's
just a
big.
little bit different the way he played,
Mhm.
can really energize both sides of the football.
Yeah.
Last thing, I was impressed with the way Georgia handled Haynes King, though,
Right.
because he torched him a year ago.
Yeah.
So to keep him in check, running and throwing the football just shows you that Georgia is now starting to play complementary football
Mhm.
because it felt like for the majority of the season, it's been the offense that has led the way, and the defense has kind of been it's been an issue at times. Now, all of a sudden down the stretch, yeah, this was Georgia's probably worst offensive performance in a while, but the defense has been playing great lately. I mean, really, really good.
Yeah.
So I still think Georgia as a football team is playing as good as anyone in the country heading into
Sure.
championship
Sure.
weekend.
Gonna be
So,
fascinating to see. Let me ask you this before we move on about just the offense because Georgia's offense. It did piss me off, to be honest. Like I know I'm an ACC guy and I'm
right.
excited for Georgia Tech, but the dogs were carving their ass up running the football.
Yeah.
And anytime Frazier touched it, it was like 10, 12 yards.
Which we thought
And
would.
for whatever reason, we went away from that. Let me not say we.
Yeah.
It is not we. Y'all went away from that. Was that weird to you, like watching that? I thought it was.
I agree.
I
I
like
think we
Bobo, and
said
I
I
think
mean,
he's
what
good, but that
I
was
said what
dumb. Like that was dumb.
I said Georgia's gonna get, like, what, 5 to 7 explosive runs in the game,
Yeah.
and they were just doing that. So I do feel like Bobo got away from it a little bit,
Mhm.
especially later on in the game for I don't know what reason. Maybe they
Yeah.
wanted to try to create some more explosives, but that could have been a game Gunner could have thrown the ball 10 times and Georgia would have won.
Literally. I mean,
Yeah,
Georgia
they
ran it
need to.
46 times for 190. You should have
Yeah,
ran it 60 times, to be
yeah.
honest. I mean, they just couldn't. It was weird. It was weird to me. Do you feel that as a quarterback? Like, do you have that conversation with your OC or your guy? Like,
No, I
coach,
mean,
let's run the damn ball. What are we doing?
hell no, I'm not gonna tell my OC to run the damn ball. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say,
they
"Let's throw
might
this
now
damn
though.
bitch."
These kids are different. Hey, they're making the same amount of money. They
Yeah.
might tell him now.
Well, no, I would never say run the football, even if I'm making mine. I'm like, "Coach, give me the rock. I wanna throw the
Coach, let me
football."
sling this thing,
Yeah,
dog.
I wanna sling that thing. I'm not trying
Because
to
you're
hand the
different,
ball
bro.
off.
You're like that.
Gee, I ain't trying to hand that ball off. Alright, let's move on to the game in Austin, Texas, as Texas, wins 27-17. And you wanna talk about, like, losing steam when it comes to
Oh
getting to New
yeah.
York?
Jeez.
Marcel Reed has had a bad November.
Who's gonna be
Obviously, the
there?
South
The
Carolina
3
game was,
guys
like,
we
really
thought,
bad than
they're
good.
out. They're out.
Out.
It's cr
Who's gonna win the damn Heisman? I guess it's gonna be
freaking
Ohio State's
Fernando
quarterback.
with 2,200 passing yards. Sick, dude. Go get it.
Oh,
Jeremiah Love. Let's mix it up. Let's give it to a
I
running back.
agree. I think Love should win it. But anyways, every team has an issue this year, maybe besides Ohio State.
Mhm, yeah.
A&M, it's been their running defense. Texas has not been able to run the ball all year
Mm-mm.
at all. Well, guess what? You face A&M, and Wisner's able to run for 155 yards on 19 carries, able to run the football as a team for 218 yards.
Crazy.
That
Crazy.
is for how good that defense line is getting after the quarterback,
Yeah.
to think that they're that bad stopping the run, but it's
I know.
been all year long, and that's a bad running football team.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, Texas is a piss poor running football team. That
Oh, yeah.
offensive line is not good, and you had only 2 sacks. You know, our big thing was like this defense line is going to eat Texas's
Right.
offensive line
Right.
alive, and it was the other way around. Texas
Mhm.
played their best game offensively against a quality defense. They ran the ball and they protected Arch, and Arch continues to make plays when he has to make plays.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy to, just sit here and think that Texas A&M having their best year in a long time, if not ever, um, all they have to do to get to 12-0 is beat Big Brother, beat Texas, and they can't do it. I mean, it's the
No.
most Aggie thing, and weirdly enough, I have a handful of Texas people in my life, and they're just dying laughing because it's so typical. It's so they just can't do it. They can't make it happen for whatever reason, and I think it is actually pretty interesting too when you dive into who A&M has played, and you look at the just kind of up to that moment, where they're playing Texas, and you look at all the teams that are ranked in the SEC at that time, and the fact that they hadn't played any of them. So it's a little bit of fluff. It's a little bit
It is
of
a little bit of fluff.
great schedule, took advantage of it, which good job. You got to do that. And I understand each and every week, super tough. But then you run into this team in Texas who we don't think's world beaters. We don't think they're a playoff team, and maybe they are at the end. Who knows? But you get handled. You get manhandled from them, and Arch looks fantastic, running all over you. It's fascinating, man, when these things happen. Because honestly, you look at the other side of that. I thought maybe Ohio State was going to run into that same thing, and they dominated. They
Yep.
handled business in a blizzard, doing
Yep.
their thing up there. So it is interesting that it truly has taken us 14 weeks to find out who the real ones are, who the pretenders are, and maybe we don't even quite know yet. Maybe when this playoff comes,
I still
we're
don't know if we
surprised
know. I
even
think I
more,
think I think to me, the only team that we feel really good about is Ohio State, and
which I
maybe you can put
didn't
Georgia.
until this weekend.
Yeah, which we just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Maybe Indiana, which I think we'll learn this weekend too. I
yeah,
mean, hell, their win against Oregon on the road was super impressive, so I'm not even gonna doubt Indiana. Like,
right.
that's a good football team. That team can win a championship. Obviously, we'll truly know if they can based on the results, against Ohio State this weekend. But, like, I sit back and look at A&M now and say, like, Marcel has had some really bad moments on the stretch. This defense can't stop the run.
Mhm.
How are they going to match up against some of these teams going forward when he is turnover prone, um, and they can't get off the field defensively?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They were it felt like 3 weeks ago, the big discussion was A&M or Indiana.
Mhm.
Now I sit back and say, like, I don't even know if A&M's top 5 in the country
I
now
know.
after
I
what I've
know.
seen the past few weeks, and we'll
It's
get
gonna
to
be
our
interesting.
rankings here, in a little bit. Alright, the big one, the game, Ohio State, Michigan. I started off perfectly for Michigan, beautiful
Mhm.
drive, moved down the field, would have loved to score a touchdown, they got a field goal. Then Julian Sain throws a terrible interception, and then from there, he was just Julian Sain, 19 and 26, 233, 3 touchdowns. Bo Jackson was freaking running his little butt off. Um, they're the best team in college football. That was a monster statement win. I don't know, Michigan's offense is still not great. but I think we believe that Ohio State's defense is really good. I think the question was Julian Sayin, like how good if Julian Sayin can be as good as he's been all year on the road in a blizzard against that defense, there is no weakness to this football team.
Mhm.
There's none. This team is better than they were a year ago,
Yeah.
and that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
Scary as hell. That was, an awesome game to watch if you're an Ohio State fan, kinda sitting back saying, like, "Who is going to beat us?" I don't know because, eh, for a quarterback to now have that game done and dusted and have the confidence that I can go win that type of ball game and put up some really good stats, there's nothing left that he needs to prove to anyone.
Correct.
He's legit, man. He's a damn good quarterback.
Including himself, because that's,
Yes.
just something
Yes.
that I was interested in because, again, you look at the schedule is what it is, and I know different people create these rankings, but there was nothing because they didn't play Oregon. They hadn't played Michigan until this point. They hadn't played USC. They hadn't played Indiana. And so you're just kinda looking here thinking, and you're like, "Are they good? I don't know. I don't know." I mean, they have good players, but
Yeah.
when their back's against the wall and they need something, are they gonna be able to dig down and find it? And that was answered, and the answer is yes. Like, they're
Yes.
very, very good, very explosive, and, are ready for any challenge. And, weather, elements, rival, overcoming that, which, by the way, is a huge deal. I mean,
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing that the national champs couldn't do a year ago,
Mhm.
couldn't overcome that in your own house against a way worse team in Michigan a year ago. So they are the real deal, and they have a huge opportunity to repeat. As national champions, and we'll obviously have another big, fascinating data point in this Big Ten championship here against what is probably going to be a national championship caliber game
Oh, yeah.
against Indiana. So
1
it's
versus 2, baby.
yeah,
1
it's
versus
it's
2.
gonna be fun to watch that, no question.
Alright, let's get to a couple of these last games real quick. Alabama beats Auburn on the road 27-20. Kinda ugly early on for Auburn, felt like Alabama was gonna run away with it, and then
Mhm.
Auburn made some plays late, had an opportunity, but just not enough. Alabama goes for it on 4th down and wins. I'm less concerned about Auburn, listen, they got a new head coach now, the whole new thing I don't wanna focus on them, I wanna focus this question real quick on Alabama. It kinda feels like and it's crazy to say this because 'cause they're 10-2, they're 7-1 in the SEC, and they're in the SEC championship game, but does it kinda feel like Alabama's lost a lot of steam the past
Mhm.
month?
Mhm. It
Like, they're
does.
winning games, they're
Yeah.
in the SEC championship game, like, all great and well, they're probably gonna be in the playoffs, but I don't know, man, it just feels like trending backwards?
Yeah. Really, since
Um,
that South Carolina game, that was
yeah,
they were behind. They had to have some
yeah,
magic, kinda come out of nowhere, to win that. Probably should have lost the game, but, obviously, South Carolina not able to close. We saw that a couple of times, with those guys being up big, and then, a dogfight, but a comfortable dogfight with LSU. Obviously, an 11-point win there, and then losing to Oklahoma, a game that
in
if I remember
Tuscaloosa.
correctly, both of us were very keen on Bama
Oh, yeah,
rolling and
yep,
just not being able to, be anywhere close to these guys, and they lose. And Ty throws all these yards, but they just can't get anything going. And the Oklahoma defense proved to be a valiant kind of effort there. And then with Auburn, struggling with them. If it's not for a 4th down fumble by the best player on Auburn's team, maybe this is a different story right now and what we're talking about. So they do feel like they're fading, a bit, and still think Ty is really good, but I
yeah,
don't know, just the overall team not having his back, and so that's what makes this SEC championship even more interesting for me. Georgia gets their, lick back, and is Bama out? I mean, if they lose that game, I know a lot of people, which I don't agree with A, how they've been playing, and then B, with 3 losses, like, you're not in the college football playoff. I don't know
yeah.
why so many people are thinking that's a lock.
No, I agree with you. I think they have to win this game, in order to get in. I think there's too many good 10-2 football teams, one
Right.
of them being the next game I wanna talk about real
Yeah.
quick, Miami-Pittsburgh. Miami did
Mhm.
what they needed to do, and they scored a late touchdown, which is hilarious to kinda, could to really showcase a 38-7 victory. For those who watch the show, y'all know how I feel about Miami. I love Miami. I think if Miami's in the playoffs as a team you don't wanna face, um they're a bubble team right now. They're gonna
Mhm.
need some help this weekend in order to get in. Obviously, we'll see where the committee puts them after this win versus Pittsburgh, dominant win on the road, a little bit colder temperatures. this past weekend.
Hey,
But
not a little bit
what are your
cold. It was
thoughts on
28
Miami?
degrees. It was freezing.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
proud of them because I was a little concerned about that. Some soft Florida boys playing up in the snow. They did fine. And Carson Beck, man, he when he is on, he is
yeah,
so good. And he's been on this last month. All the whole month of November,
yeah.
he's been electric, super efficient, just knows where to go with the football. Like finding Malachi Tony, that guy has emerged as a superstar. Not just I think he's the best freshman right now in college football, but he's also one of the best receivers. Like them boys at Ohio
Oh, yeah.
State, great. This guy's great too. Like he just makes plays. He can throw it, he can run it, he can catch it. He had a freaky one-handed catch on the sideline where I'm just like, man, this guy's different. And
Yep,
they're being creative. They're obviously running the football very well. Ran it for a buck 40 against this blitzing, Pitt defense that's really electric there. They're playing their best football at the right time. And
I agree.
you know, I, the again, I don't think it's as much of a Notre Dame comparison anymore. I think they both need to be in. They both are playing very high quality football, and obviously the head to head should matter. But I think they're both good enough to be in.
I agree.
But it's interesting these, common opponent type things that we've seen. Miami has recently beaten, this Pittsburgh team worse than Notre Dame did, and beat a Stanford team worse than Notre Dame did. So, you talk about all these factors and points, and a lot of people in my mentions, maybe yours too, saying, "Well, Notre Dame would beat Miami today if they played." Would they? I don't know about
No,
that. I actually
I don't
do
know.
not think that at all. So I
I
think
think
they
they're
both
both close
deserve it.
teams. I think they're both great football teams. I think
Correct.
they both can win a championship.
Right.
I'm
Right.
high on both of them, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
Yeah.
last one, the ACC, and then we'll give you our top 12 teams before we head out. The game I had, Cal takes down SMU, and I don't want to get into the game because it is what it is. JKS is a freak, man. That dude.
Good.
I'm interested to see if Cal can keep him next year because he is unbelievable watching
Mhm,
him live.
mhm.
Shocking. SMU got down early, pretty big early, called back, got the lead. And then, he goes down there, 2-minute drive, scores, SMU misses a field goal. And now the ACC is praying that Virginia wins this week, or they may be out because of, who knows what's gonna happen with Miami, essentially. So, um, how nervous are you right now? Are
Oh,
you
yeah, I'm
pretty confident?
terrified.
Virginia just beat
Terrified.
Duke, so we're feeling pretty good still,
They
though?
hammered Duke low key,
Yeah.
and also I think Miami's in. So I went into way more detail on the show I do with Kelly Gramlich. If y'all never seen that, go check it out. Gramlich and Mac Lane. We went for like 12 minutes talking about this scenario. We're not
Mhm.
going to do that here. You can go over there and watch it. My biggest quarrel with this situation is how we possibly even got to this point, Aaron. You have a 5-way tie for second place. That
Uh-huh.
in that tie includes a Georgia Tech team that just took Georgia to the ropes, that has a number 12, probably going to be better once this new rankings come out, Miami team. And yet, some way, somehow, the team with the worst resume and the worst record is the team that
Yeah.
gets to gifted to go to Charlotte. I don't understand it. I don't know how. I don't know. I do know I don't know how they landed on that. The ACC is this is the tie-breaking scenario that we like. That's going to be the best. I don't know why head to head doesn't matter in a 5-way tie. I do not know why college football playoff rankings do not
Yeah.
matter in a 5-way tie. It is a silly, just suggestion of how to do something. And so my cry for help is change it immediately. Like today, come out with what's happening in 26. That's what needs to occur because it cannot be this. It cannot be this.
Yep.
This is not the best product that you can possibly put forward with
Yep.
no divisions here, with a 5-loss football team playing in your championship game for ratings, fans, ticket sales, all of that, which all matter, and why we even play this
I mean, let's
game.
let's just look at the other conferences. You have North Texas 11-1 versus Tulane, the American. You have Georgia, Alabama. You have BYU, Texas Tech, 11 versus 5. Indiana, Ohio State, and then Duke, Virginia.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It makes me sick, to be honest. So
Mhm.
it's nothing. It's no shade to Duke. Congratulations, and maybe even, buddy. This is a bigger the playoff needs fixed because if Duke actually if it was automatic qualifiers and the ACC champion was in, then it's an interesting story. Can Duke, who lost to UConn and Tulane and Illinois, somehow go on a miraculous run in the playoff? Then it's fun and it's cool. But as it sits right now, it's a huge mistake. And again, no
Right.
shade to Duke. love them. I really like those people over there, but it's weird. It's a weird
I
spot
agree.
to be in.
I agree. All right. Well, we're gonna give you our top 12 before we head out of here. I'm just gonna rip through these real quick. We'll go from 1 to 12. Emac sent me his. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit without even telling
Oh,
him. So we'll
oh,
see his
great.
reaction.
Perfect.
Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3.
You like that?
I had Texas Tech a little bit lower, but we'll go Texas Tech 4,
Mm,
Oregon 5,
okay. Like this so far.
Miami 6, Notre Dame 7, Aggies 8,
Wow.
Ole Miss 9. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, with Lane not there, I'm blessed high on Ole Miss. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Um, Oklahoma 10, UVA 11, North Texas 12.
Wee. Wow. I like it. Let's see if the committee has the understanding of football to do it.
We'll
Do
see,
it.
we'll see.
That'll be
Alright,
a
well, that
fun
is it.
playoff right there too, by the way.
That'd
That
be a
would be
great
electric.
playoff. Oh, it'll be fun, much fun. Alright, well, we'll be back Tuesday. We're gonna be doing our preview show, looking ahead to conference championship weekend.
Big
So be
weekend.
on the lookout for that. Go follow us on social media, and obviously like, subscribe here at the Mac and Murray College Football Show. Y'all have a great week, and we will see you Tuesday.
Okay.